So right now, we're about to have a very interesting parenting conversation, and with me is Sandra Oluwadare, here to discuss equipping your child to thrive in today's world. Right now, Sandra is an author and speaker, I'm sure, on children matters, because this is actually not my first interview with you on the same topic.
Yeah.
So years ago, we actually had a conversation on this, and I love the fact that you stayed consistent and stayed true to the cause and what you do. I think it's amazing. Welcome to Wake Up Nigeria.
Thank you for having me today.
It's amazing. I love your dress, by the way.
Thank you.
Very lovely, very Nigerian, and of course chic as well. Okay, so now today we're talking about equipping our children to thrive in today's world. So now we know a lot of things has changed. A lot of things have changed, considering the fact that, considering where we grew up from and how we grew up, right? So now we have the internet, we have more technology, handling a lot of things and all of that. We have more busy parents, right? And then we have more children left by themselves and all of that, or children metamorphing into adults earlier than normal. So now how exactly, what would you say would be the basic steps, right, to teach our children how to thrive in today's world?
Thank you, Winfrey. So, like you said, the world has really evolved. You know, children, most times we find them trying to find their path themselves. And so it's very important that for children to thrive in today's world, they get equipped with certain skills. All right, but first, before I go into the skills, I would like to talk about learning. The first thing every parent should do, you know, to have their children well equipped to thrive in today's world is to expose them to learning. You know, the world has evolved. The internet is like the window to the world. And so there are more opportunities for children to be exposed to learning.
Very true.
And so resources that would, you know, impact them intellectually should be made available. We have puzzles, we have books, we have toys, you know, learning toys and all of that. You know, for any child to stand the test of time now, they need to be well equipped intellectually. So learning is something we cannot overemphasize.
Yes.
And then another thing these parents want to do is to, you know, teach their children or equip them with social emotional skills.
Very true.
Children should be taught how to communicate properly, because we find that there are people today, even adults, who know what to do. They know answers to questions and all of that, but most times they're not speaking up because they have not been equipped to communicate properly.
Very true.
And you know, even if you go into a classroom now and teach a set of children, the tendency that you're going to be asked questions is very low, because people are not speaking up anymore, children, and that's not how we want to raise these children. We want them to be able to communicate their feelings and express themselves. So communication skills, how to deal with people, how to relate with people is something that every child should be equipped with right now. And then another thing will be emotional intelligence. This is very important.
Very important.
Children from a young age should be taught how to manage their emotions. Emotions, you know, in themselves are not bad, you know, but how these emotions are expressed, how they are let out, becomes very important. So children should be taught safe ways to let out their emotions, even when they're angry. We should not invalidate their emotions, because that leads to something else. Children deserve to be listened to. They deserve to be heard. They deserve to air their opinion. So even when they're throwing tantrums, when they're angry, they're trying to tell you something, because every behavior is communication.
Very true.
So emotional intelligence is something that every parent should zone into. And then another thing we want to teach our children to thrive in today's world is resilience. They need to build resilience. They need to know how to bounce back, you know, where they have experienced setbacks. Because we find that some people slip into depression. Some people are not able to use failure as a tool to do something positive. So children need to be taught that failure is not final. They need to know that there are lessons to be learned, you know, every time they're not able to hit that goal. So I think these are some of the basic things that parents should.
So now let me do a quick recap. We spoke firstly about learning, communication, emotional intelligence, and of course resilience. Very, very fundamental points that we actually need to teach. Now, when it comes to learning, I think to an extent, despite the fact that maybe not all subjects have been covered, us growing up, our parents always imbibe the ideas of learning and reading and all of that, even if sometimes they try to like limit what kind of materials we get access to. But now we're speaking about communication and emotional intelligence in this area when it comes to especially we Nigerians, right? And I mean the whole parent-child hierarchy. I don't think that has been encouraged enough. Now, to be able to get the parents to admit that, okay, my child needs to communicate properly and, of course, express their emotions properly and be able to handle all of that, I think we also need to get the parents to understanding that now discipline and respect, I think the word is respect, is I don't know how to explain to you that we're not trying to be rude. Or the kids are not trying to be rude. So how do we get the parents to understand that a child standing up for themselves and asking a question is okay, and you don't need to get so defensive and get so authoritative with them? How do we get the parents to break off that?
It's by sensitization, you know, to keep creating that awareness, because a lot of parents have come into parenting with their own school of thought, the way they have been programmed. So they need to be deprogrammed. They need to unlearn all of those things. You know, like the holidays just came, and, you know, some of the things I shared with parents was about not forcing their children to go and sit on somebody's laps, or, you know, go and hug uncle now, go and greet auntie and all of that. You know, we need to understand that these children own their emotions. All right, so parents, we need to keep creating the awareness that if a child is speaking up, if a child is saying, no, I don't feel like giving you a hug, it's not the child being rude, but it's the child being self-aware and understanding that I own my emotions. I can be respectful, but at the same time, I need to be able to express myself.
Okay, I totally understand you and where you're coming from. This conversation is one that can literally be spread to different ways, because now we're talking about allowing children, but then again, they're still kids. Where do we draw the balance? But then again, we can't continue the conversation right now. But amazingly, you'll be here with us again next week, Tuesday, and hopefully we'll expand this conversation and go more in depth. Thank you so much, Sandra.
Thank you, Winfrey,
for being
having
here
me.
with us. It's always a pleasure talking to you.